Hello, my name is Lucy Brancoli, and today I'm here to talk about government-funded opioid addiction treatment facilities. So the first thing we must ask ourselves is, what is opioid addiction? And opioid addiction is an addiction to opiates, which can be drugs like Oxycontin, heroin, which are both prescription or illicit drugs. And over the past 20 years, we've seen a grand increase in this type of drug use. The CDC reports that in the last 15 years, 183,000 people have died from opioid addiction. And so this is where it becomes a huge national problem. So us as Americans should start taking steps to treat this. And a lot of lawmakers have made statements that we need to take care of this. So why should we care about these people? Not only are they American citizens, but they can definitely be productive members of society, and they are causing a huge deficit in our workforce as well as an increase in welfare, and these people need our help. So as Americans, I believe it is our duty to take care of these people, and we have the ability to do so. So what are currently available for people suffering from opioid addiction? And that would be there are a few possible options. The first being at-home detox, which is extremely dangerous, and medical professionals actually advise against it as a lot of people go into shock and pass away. The second would be government-funded facilities which are usually mental health facilities, but those are usually not outfitted for drug rehabilitation, but for mental health. And the combination of these programs doesn't always work well together, as well as they're underfunded and sometimes understaffed. The third would be volunteer or faith-based programs, which are amazing and they're run by awesome volunteers, but they aren't located everywhere, and they do rely on the goodness of people, and they're inconsistent in nature. And this also crosses over to private treatment facilities, which would be something that people pay for themselves or their family pays for. And not only do you have to be self-admitted, but this also costs a lot of money, and they are not located everywhere. And a lot of people suffering from addiction aren't doing very well financially. So what can we do about this? And I have come up with 3 possible solutions today to talk with you about. The first being that we can create new treatment facilities. The second being that we could subsidize private or faith-based treatment facilities. And the third, that we could use jails infrastructure as treatment facilities. And I'll cover that more later. So the first one of building new infrastructure and building completely new rehabilitation centers is going to take some time. You have to get it passed through local government, state government, federal government, and then you have to fund it, build the programs, build the infrastructure, get people into these programs, and see what works and what doesn't work. And though it would be the most ideal option, it's going to take too long, and a lot of people unfortunately are going to die between the time that we start working on this by the time that it actually is put in progress. So though it's ideal, and I think we should progress towards that, I do not believe that in this point in time that it is a viable option for the American people. The second would be to subsidize private treatment facilities. And what that would entail would that government taxpayer money would be put towards private treatment facilities to accept all people. And though this could work, it can be very inconsistent. And with the privatization of mental health facilities under Reagan, we saw that it didn't work out very well, and there was a lot of inconsistency and human rights issues. And though we could learn to prevent that today, I do believe it's the most inconsistent, and there aren't treatment facilities everywhere. And the third option of using jail infrastructure as treatment facilities would not need to criminalize opiates further, but use the infrastructure that we currently have in jails to rehabilitate people in a community-based environment while offering programs such as GED or vocational training to re-enter these members into society and give them a foot and a stepping stone after rehabilitation. We're seeing programs like this in northern Kentucky, in central Kentucky, that are working very well, and I think 90% of people do not reoffend after this program. It relies on community-based, so these people detox together, rehabilitate together, build a life together, and then use that to help the next group of people through. And this would not cost taxpayers as much. It would cost money, everything costs money, but you wouldn't have to build the infrastructure, and we have that infrastructure available in all places. So it would be available to everyone, and these programs would be built on the same programs that are working currently in Kentucky. So to wrap it all up, I believe that opioid addiction is a huge problem, but we have the manpower and the willpower to solve it, and I believe it's up to us as voters and up to government officials to really take hold and take care of this problem, and I think that using jails as infrastructure for this problem could really give us and people who are addicted to opioids a new chance. Thank you.